Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Stranger Things 2, Episode 5, Chapter 5. It's called Dig Dug. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. So first up, apologies, there wasn't an episode review yesterday. Schedule and things.
Pretty much.
Yeah. If I seem a little bit out of it, I am dealing with a killer headache at the moment. But
Isn't it nice?
I will soldier on. You shut up, you ginger menace. But I will soldier on because Stranger Things is important. And yes, see, I told you I was out of it. I can't even finish sentences. All right.
Oh, this is going to be a train wreck.
So we ended the last episode with Hopper jumping into the maze of vines underneath Hawkins, and unfortunately for him, it's rather alive. There's all these like vines, like smaller vines and tentacles and things all over the place in here, and it's the hole that he came down kind of closes over, and then he can't find his way out. And oh dear, he's trapped inside the maze, and hence the title Dig Dug. I see what they were doing here. Very good. So that's the thing. But obviously, back at the house, Will actually gets another vision and sees that Hopper's down there, and tells his mum, hey, Hopper's in trouble. Mike's there as well. Mike's stayed overnight because he's concerned for his friend, and they're there trying to figure this out. And he's like, okay, this is the bit this is where Hopper is, and it's this like sort of fork in the vines, and they find the spot, and they're like, okay, what does that mean though? Where the hell is this? They don't understand. I do have to critique this a little bit, like just in the sense I love that they've got it all over the walls, and I love that they're trying to figure it out. It's it's very Stranger Things, I guess, because we had the whole thing with the lights last season and all these different things. Like it's one of these things from an 80s sci-fi movie where they're trying to figure something out, like a mystery like this, and it feels pretty cool. It's pretty fun to see them figure it out. I do have to critique it a little bit though, because I feel like, how did they possibly know that one part of the drawing connects to that part of the drawing versus the other random bit that also looks like a straight line? Because a lot of it just is the same sort of straight squiggle.
Yeah, I mean,
and yet
I wonder if he was drawing them somewhat in an order, so you can kind of follow them on.
Okay, yeah, maybe. Okay, I'll maybe accept that, because really, there's because it's not precise enough to know exactly that this one definitely connects to that bit.
Yeah. Like I said, maybe there's an order that you kind of you follow on. It's like okay, it just kind of keeps going until you find, okay, that doesn't work, so that must go where it broke off.
Okay. Because as we find out later, Bob comes over trying to be like, oh, he's sick, oh, I've brought some brain teasers, because that's what I liked when I was a kid. The nerd, Bob the Brain. And I say that
Bob's growing on me, not gonna lie.
Do you know, I'm a pretty nerdy guy, but this was not something I did as a kid, was brain teasers to make myself feel better.
No, maybe the odd Sudoku to put myself to sleep, but...
The Sudokus exist when you were a kid?
I mean, they were kind of getting into newspapers. Maybe not a kid, more teenager.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say that. They definitely weren't around when I was young.
They're not like now where you can just get it on your phone.
Well, obviously, yeah, we didn't have smartphones when we were kids, Connor.
Exactly.
We're old people now.
Yes, we are. We remember things.
We remember VHS and tape and rewinding.
Yes, and the ability to go out in the day without people thinking it's weird when you're just gone all day.
Actually, it's one of the things. I was watching something else today, and people were saying, "Oh, give me a phone call," and they had to specify I'll be home after a certain time, and I'm like, that's just not a concern anymore, because now you give someone a phone number, it's like, no, it's my mobile number. So, you could phone me at any point of the day, and it'll be with me, on me at all times. Yep. This idea that once upon a time we were restricted to certain hours. Otherwise...
Yeah. It's the idea that now parents will know where the kids are all the time. They just phone them and go, "Where are you?"
Yeah.
But when we were young, it was like, well, your parents had no idea where you are. You could be the other side of the city.
Yeah, you could be dead in a ditch somewhere.
You could, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so Bob's trying to be all nice, and of course they're not supposed to tell him about any of the upside down stuff, all the cover up and all the rest of it. So she has to kind of like fob him off and like, he's asleep, sorry, and tries to get rid of him. But he's like, okay, and he's understanding. He's like, okay, that's fine. I'll go. I'll call me, blah blah blah. But as he's leaving, he's like, don't call me Bob the Brain for nothing. He's like, wait a minute, he can figure this out. Bob, honey, come back. And it just cuts to inside, and just his perspective of just seeing this house covered in all these drawings.
You realise the madness.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, this is a bit crazy. Joyce, can we talk, just the adults, please, for a second? Yes. What's going on? This is crazy. What are we doing here? And that's kind of it. But then he notices something, and he basically figures out what we already kind of knew, that this was essentially a map of the town, right? I mean, we were, I mean, I don't know if we maybe used the word map, but we were kind of.
I think we did.
Did we? Either way, that was kind of our idea. This was all the town.
Yeah.
And he recognises parts of it, and he kind of like, he mentions that it never crosses water, so that's how it kind of, you can kind of follow the rules. You can kind of see where things are. So he gets out an actual map, and he kind of like says, okay, well, if that distance to that distance is like, 10 foot on there, and then that's like 6 foot over there, then that roughly correlates to this on the map. But as he says, and I'm glad he said this phrase, he said it's not exact, it's not exactly a precise science.
It's not precise because it's random drawing scribbles that we've kind of stuck up. It literally just goes up walls and stuff. It's not even laid out flat.
Yeah, so I'm glad he said that, because I wouldn't have accepted that he pinpointed it to the like a square foot. He's in that square foot. No. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like maybe 1.5 miles in that direction from there.
Yeah. So they get out to the general area, and obviously Hopper's car's sitting out there, so when they actually get to it, it's like, okay, well, we're in the right spot.
And there's a big hole.
And there's a giant goddamn hole. So we get towards the end of the episode, and the kids stay up top, but Joyce and Bob jump down into the vein as well, and they're looking for him. They find him, because at this point Hopper, he's got tentacles all over him, and he's...
It was very, that image where Hopper got grabbed by the tentacles, and he was struggling trying to get it. It reminded me a lot of Harry Potter. You've seen the first Harry Potter movie, right?
I've seen all the Harry Potter movies, but yes.
Okay, good. So when they jump down the hole at the end of the movie to go into all the trials at the end, and there's all those vines.
Oh, God, no. I don't remember how the first one ended.
You're the worst. We need to do the Harry Potter films at some point.
Oh God, no, we don't. Oh God, there's 8 of the bloody things.
Yeah. Well, we got Fantastic Beasts 2 coming next year.
Oh no! I'm not doing 8 Harry Potter movies. Once was enough.
It's never enough.
The fact that I don't remember what most of the final fights were, like I remember the final movie's final fight, but the rest of them I couldn't tell you what the final showdowns were.
Well, good. Means you got an excuse to revisit them with some fresh eyes.
Continue your point. We'll let the cat in.
No, there wasn't much point here. I really like the imagery, and it really reminded me of Harry Potter. And I was just like, hey, don't struggle, because that's what they do in that movie. And then he gets stuck anyway.
My cable's
because he got like gassed with that thing. And I'm not entirely sure what the correct terminology for that would be. It was it's like a spores.
Yeah, spore. Yeah, it's a spore. It's just like perhaps maybe even a defense mechanism. Like it's designed to.
What I thought was interesting is he was going up because he was using his lighter, right?
Yeah, he was sort of separating the vines and stuff, and he was like digging his way through.
Yeah, and he was using his lighter for light, and it was then that's what it reacted to. I mean, I didn't realize at the time, but obviously we see in the labs a bit later how they go, they put it under the fire.
Yeah, they've got soil samples of various farms where they've taken, where this has all happened.
Yeah.
And we see that when they heat up, it's like, because they say it's fine, like it's actually completely normal until they heat it up, and then you see it basically turns into a little vortex, a little tornado, and then that's weird enough. But then you look across all the other test tubes, and they're all doing the same thing, so it's all connected. It's got a hive mind of some kind.
Yeah. But obviously we know that the things from the upside down don't like heat, they don't like light. So it's not so much that it was protecting itself from Hopper, but just more from the flame. It was like, nope, that's getting gone.
Yeah, but Hopper's like a flame and burning eternal anyway, so...
He is. I do really love when they find him, and Joyce is just, hugging him and going, oh, Hopper, so glad. And Bob's in the back goes, hi, Jim.
Oh, no, that's Jim. Jim says it first.
Oh, yeah.
He's hugging her, and he's like, oh, hey, Bob. He's like, hey, Jim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bob was cracking up the whole way, on the drive over, and they were like, oh, that's Hopper's kind of like, what's Jim doing here?
Yeah, he didn't even know he was in trouble yet. He's just because even when he figures out, okay, this is where he is roughly within maybe like a mile, give or take.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, let's go, and she grabs her keys, and he's like, what? We're going? We're actually going? What?
Oh man, Bob was cracking me up.
Yeah, the plot is definitely went flying into like full motion. I mean,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think it was already going last episode, but this episode really had everything going and everyone's got their own sort of thing going on right now. Obviously, this was like so we've got Mike and Will, obviously Joyce and all that here.
yep.
Um, and we end here. Obviously, the lab because they figured that stuff out with the soil. They show up at the end as well in their trucks, and they bring in some flamethrowers, and they're just dousing the place.
Yeah, as we've seen them do.
Yeah. So they're doing that, and we end the episode with Will as this is happening. Perhaps because it's happening, starts like just spasming and freaking out, and he's on the ground, and he's like,
I don't even think it's a perhaps. I think it's how we were talking about how it was a hive mind where they put the flame under one bit of soil and it affected all of them, and we kind of get the idea that that the Will's connected to all of this now. It's part of him.
oh yeah.
So
I mean,
it's the fire there is affecting him.
I was really just a figure of speech. I wasn't necessarily saying. I thought that
Yeah,
there was a chance
Just,
it wasn't,
just
but
said, they cleared it up with the hive mind thing with the fire already.
yeah. So he's like so they're going to have to do this. I mean, they're going to have to stop and then make the choice. Is it worth maybe killing the kid to like stop this from happening?
That feels what the end game is going to be. Is like, and I know like a couple episodes ago we talked about maybe Will dying. And I said, maybe not because they were the one who just got back. And he didn't have much to do. I think maybe he could, and he has to be the one to, make the sacrifice.
If Jonathan isn't dead by the end of the season, I've got a funny feeling we might get an in-between seasons death for him now as well. Oh, you haven't heard about this. The actor was caught with cocaine at an airport and sent back to the UK.
It was like nothing. It was like I saw that. It was like trace amounts, and they just sent him back, and they went, "Hey, yeah, you can just reapply for another visa."
All right, okay. Because when the story first broke, there was like, future with show in jeopardy, and I'm like, and the best tweet I saw about the whole thing was Stranger Things 3, Chapter 1, The Vanishing of Jonathan Banks. And that really made me laugh.
No,
but fair enough.
It didn't sound like it was that bad.
All right, fair enough. But it was amusing all the same. But speaking of Jonathan and Nancy, who of course we applauded last episode for having the smarter plan, but we didn't know what they were doing with the tape. So they recorded audio of Dr. Owens talking about all this stuff and everything else, and we don't know what they're doing. And they go to a motel, and they have a kind of a sweet moment where they kind of reminisce a little bit, and their cuts because they made a blood pact last season, and they're showing their cuts off, and Nancy's like, "Hey, mine's bigger." But she's like, "Hey, I kind of waited for you," and it's like, "Not for very long," which doesn't upset her. This is a proper.
Yeah, she's kind of like, yeah, fair enough.
It's funny that we get a scene with Lucas where there's some jokes made about making up with the wife, because this kind of felt like a marital falling out. I want the lights off. Turn them off now.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
I think the separate beds made it funnier.
It did, because it made it feel like a 70s sitcom, because that's what you still always get in 70s sitcoms, is there was the separate single. Because on TV, God forbid, you couldn't show a couple sharing a bed, because that was kinky.
Yeah.
Imagine what those people would think now.
It'd be strange, wouldn't it?
Yeah. They tune in to, even network TV, they put on Hannibal. What are they thinking during that?
To be fair, that's a pretty extreme example of network TV.
Yeah, even sitcoms have people in the same beds, though.
Well, yeah.
I mean,
yeah, obviously.
Because whatever. So they're at this location. They go to this building, and some crazy sounding fellow over an intercom's like, "Look in the camera. I want to see your faces." And then
they stare at the speaker, and he's like, "No, not that's the speaker, the camera." And he just keep looking. Like, what? Up.
Yeah, I mean, part of me thinks they're a pair of idiots, but then maybe I'll assume that, I don't know, to the public, cameras aren't as used as heavily yet.
I don't know. I feel like CCTV in stores at least would be a thing.
No, it absolutely was.
So it's like they can see them. They may not be super aware of them, but you see them when you go into the store. You can see the camera at the top.
I guess you just justify it by saying they don't see the camera, so they're just kind of like, is it in there? Is it like a small camera or something? They're kind of trying to figure it out. But it's the nut job from episode 1 and 2 who came to Hopper with all these crazy allegations and crazy theories, and he's here. And Bauer, his name is. He he brings them in. He's like, okay, and he knows their names. It's like he knows everyone in the town. It's like because it's not so much that he just knows them specifically. It's you just get the impression that he's studied everyone in the town.
Yeah, everyone who's been around any of this.
Yeah. So he's like, he sees the face. He's like, okay, you two, right, fine, come in. And he's got his pin board up and he's stringing everywhere, and he's got like for some reason
Classic conspiracy board.
He's got 15 TVs stacked one on top of each other. I mean, it looks cool. I'll give it that. I don't know what the purpose is necessarily.
You can watch lots of different news stations at once.
Yeah, but how can you hear them all and pay attention?
Subtitles. Just kind of look between them.
Okay. Yeah, wait. Subtitles? In 1984?
Yeah, okay. I was hoping you wouldn't notice that.
And also live news. Like, I mean, even today, the subtitles on a live thing are like delayed.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
I know. I was hoping you wouldn't pick up on this just so I could let my point slide, but fine.
is there someone at the TV station with a typewriter just quickly typing out subtitles so it can get beamed in really blocky text in the 1980s transmitters?
Someone's got to do it.
Yeah. Anyway, so they walk in and he's like, yeah, I've got it all mapped out, like Barb's last day, everything that happened. And
sorry, I just had a thought just to go back. You say, they're going to have to type it up to beam it out. It's already on the teleprompter.
Okay, on the news. Fair enough.
Yeah. And
fair enough.
It was the news that was specific here.
It's
so.
not that. It's already in teleprompter. Okay, I'll give you it. Still, though, there was no optional subtitles.
No. I'm not disputing that part.
On broadcast TV in
bullshit.
1984. I'm fairly certain of it. So, what was it again? Oh yeah. So Nancy looks at his board and is like, "Yeah, your timeline's off. You've got things out of order here. I can fill you in with more of this stuff." And he's like, "What? How dare you? How dare you question my brilliance, little girl?" It's like, "Yeah, you may want to sit down for this." And we cut away. We come back and they're playing the tape. And like, "Is it enough?" And he's like, "Is it enough?" I'm thinking, and it's actually a really funny scene because he's kind of going around the room and he's like. To them, he's seeming very erratic, but he's trying to think. He's putting on music. He's pouring some vodka because, again, it helps him think. And he basically explains why this isn't just a slam dunk that they maybe think it is, because it's a lot to swallow. And as soon as like someone with any credence says, "Oh no, that's bullshit," everyone will go, "Of course it was bullshit," because it was too silly to believe.
Yeah.
And then they have that moment where he's like, "Oh, this drink's too strong," and he waters it down a little bit. And then Nancy gets... Jonathan's an idiot. He's on coke. He's not getting anything. And Nancy's like, "Oh, I get it. We have to water it down so it's more believable. So instead of telling them the whole story, we just make it simpler. Like, it's just chemicals from the lab, somehow killed Barb. And we just, So the people responsible still get, apprehended or their comeuppance.
Yeah, but it's more believable.
Yeah, and as he points out, that was similar to something that's already happened, so it's familiar. So people, again, are ready to believe it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
So no, I thought these scenes were fun. I liked how.
I liked them more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. When it started, I was like, okay, I don't know if this is going to be that interesting, and I wouldn't say it was interesting, but it was fun.
I think it is interesting. I think it's interesting because it's like they're looking at the angles, and I think it parallels really well with what Lucas is doing with Max this episode about telling someone and them not believing. Like, there's actually some nice parallels between different scenes here.
No, that's true.
Just thematically, I think the idea that we have to water it down. We have to actually think about how we present this to people, otherwise they just won't believe it. I think that's an interesting idea.
No, that's fair.
Yeah. So that was that. So we mentioned Lucas. So this is neat. We keep sort of.
We are segueing this like amazingly.
Yeah.
And now we've ruined it by pointing out the segues.
Ah, no, you can never ruin a segue. So Lucas is obviously Max's madam after last episode because she keeps getting lied to, and he asks his dad for advice at the breakfast table. Which, by the way, his little sister is one of my favourite new characters.
She's so good.
She's just downing their. I don't know if it's pancakes or waffles, but whatever it is,
it was waffles.
She's just plonking syrup all over it. The mother's like, "That's enough now." It's like, "No, it's not. Shut up." She's like, "Yeah,
and then it gets
more."
to the end and it's just a flood, and she looks up and goes, "Sorry."
I have to drown the waffles before I can eat them, just in case they're alive still.
Exactly. chucking them wasn't enough.
That's the logic. But Lucas asks his dad for some advice, and this is a fun little scene because it's like, oh, when mom's mad at you, what do you do? And she's like, yeah, honey, what do you do? He's like, I say sorry, and then I give her whatever she wants, even if she's wrong. And then I love how he's behind the newspaper the whole time, but as soon as he says that, the newspaper comes down. She's never wrong.
That is I almost wish there was just a shifty glance over to her first before he says that. It's like,
Yeah.
she's watching. She's never wrong. Yeah.
And I just, as she turns around, just a small whisper, she's always wrong, but just don't tell her that.
Yeah.
Have to suck it up. Dear. So he rides off on his bike. He's got an idea. And Max gets dropped off by her asshole stepbrother, who, at least that's the relation we're assuming at this point. At the arcade, she's in to play Dig Dug and maybe top her own high score, which she's already winning. But the douchebag who works there, Lucas has already got a little deal set out with him to have an out of order sign on top of it. It's like, oh, I've got another machine in the back room, and he escorts her back there where Lucas is waiting. And douchebag, quite rightly, is like, right, keep this PG, because I mean, to be fair, it does look a little bit. Yeah, I want us to have a private room in the back, just me and the girl.
It does a bit.
Yeah.
I like he's like, oh, you better give me that date now.
Yeah, because Lucas can pull that off.
Yeah. I like how he believes Lucas. He can't, can he? He must be like, all right, well, I've got to put up this pretense of wanting something. I can't be seen to be being generous to these kids.
Yeah, because Mike's not in on it, and even if Mike was up for doing it, it's not like Nancy's just going to listen to him.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah. Well, she practically has two boyfriends as it is. She's not going to date this dude as well. So anyway, so they're in the back room, and he's like, okay, look, I'm going to. You want to know everything? I'll tell you everything, but you have to accept the risk that this is dangerous, and you could be killed for finding this out. And of course, she obviously thinks this is bullshit. Like, what? Yeah, fine, whatever. I agree. Accept the risk. Tell me. And he starts his story. We go away. We come back, and she basically thinks that, oh yeah, that was I liked it. Maybe a couple of bits were contrived. So
A bit derivative.
that was the phrase. And he's like, what do you mean? What? No, you don't believe me? This is true. And she just gets annoyed at him again for thinking, keeping up this practical joke almost.
I do like it's a bit of a meta criticism of their own first season. It's like, it wasn't the most original thing ever. Like, it worked by playing off nostalgia and pre-established tropes. That was kind of what a lot of the fun was.
Yeah, but in 1984 it's not nostalgia, so to her it would feel a bit derivative.
Exactly.
But so he chases her out, and he's like, "Hey, look, I'm serious. Keep your voice down." And he's so serious enough that eventually she's like, "But you actually believe this?" I mean, I don't know if she actually believes him yet. She might just think he's a bit crazy. She even brings that up at one point.
Yeah, but she believes that he believes it.
Yeah, I believe that. She believes that he believes it. Yes, that's the exact phrase to use. But it's time for her to go. It's taken this full hour that she was spending here or whatever, and Billy's outside waiting for her. And of course, he sees Lucas at the door, that she was talking to him again.
Yeah, she even says, "Don't follow me out."
Yeah, and she gets back to the car. She's like, "What did I tell you?" Well, I'm on time, because when he dropped her off, he gave her some crack about don't be late. It's like, no, you know what I mean. It's like, oh, you mean Lucas? And it's like, oh, he has a name now. And it's like, God, we're really going down this path, aren't we? Like,
yeah, and she's like, yeah, it's a small town. It's in my class. Of course, I know his name.
Yeah, because she even said, and it's not even just don't follow me out. It's just don't follow me home. That was like because she thought, oh, this is like, not heated, but this is like a serious enough seeming conversation that he might follow to try and finish it later. But he's like, no. She's like, no, don't do that. So I cannot wait for Billy to get his comeuppance. I cannot wait.
I know, it's got to happen, right?
Hopefully death, but I will accept excruciating embarrassment and pain as well. And instead,
a nice kick in the balls.
Kicking the balls. And it's funny because last episode you said Lucas himself didn't know about any of this. I feel like he's going to find out. Now that they've had two moments like this, I feel like Lucas is eventually going to actually be like spoken to by him, and that's going to.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
It'll be more like, I think he'll try and make a stand for Max. He'll go up and try and defend her, and he'll just be like, he'll just get racist and look down on him.
Yeah. and I'm not sure how dark that scene's going to get. I mean, it's Stranger Things; it can't be that dark, but like, I'm surprised they're doing this in the first place. To be honest, like the way he
Yeah,
brought it up last time, and he just sort of came out with his
it,
bullshit.
it was surprising, but it feels realistic.
Oh yeah, sure, especially given who he is and what he acts like the rest of the time.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those. It doesn't feel out of character. It was a surprise to see it in the show just because we haven't had any of that before,
Yeah,
but it made perfect sense at the same time.
I mean that Ghostbusters debate back in the second episode about who should be Winston. It's almost like that was kind of like laying up the just the
Yeah,
theme.
just so people are aware that
Yeah.
okay, no, this is something we'll be talking about this season.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like it was just setting it up. It was like, yeah, but sure, they're a bunch of kids. They're all friends, but the topic is still going to come up occasionally, and here's where they're going to explore it. And I wonder if that is like maybe a social kind of not obligation, but something that the Duffer Brothers felt they wanted to do. They wanted to still bring in like modern topics
Yeah,
and
definitely. And
say,
I think it's the idea that okay, no, this one is clearly okay. This guy's just a dick, and he's awful. So it's he has no redeemable qualities whatsoever. Yeah,
none, absolutely
yeah,
zero.
yeah, none. But with Mike, it's just like okay, no, this is just institutional. It's just the way people think.
Yeah, yeah, he's not being a mean dick about it. I mean, well, he kind of is, but not in a harsh way. He's just thinking.
He doesn't realize he's doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
He doesn't, and it's just the idea that this is just so commonplace. It's just to think like that. Whereas, this guy's just a knob.
This guy's the worst.
He is.
So this actually leads to Dustin's plot quite nicely because we've went through every other kid basically, and Dustin is trying to find them like most of the episode because at the start of the episode, because obviously Dart's bigger, he quickly gets his mother out the house. He's like, oh yeah, these neighbours over the other side of town, they saw the cat over there, gets her out, and I liked him sort of like pretending to go along with everything to try and get her out quickly. And then we go full 80s kids movie. He gets on the hockey mask and the hockey pads and the stick. He's like, right, and he puts out some baloney like leading out the door to attract out Dart because he knows he likes meat. And he gets him out, and there's some really good little horror movie moments here actually when he's hiding in the little shed.
Love when he's running out, he's just going shit, just every step.
It's glorious, and he actually gets it. He gets him trapped in a storm cellar.
I have to say, based off the end of the last episode, I thought Dart was a bit bigger than this. He looked bigger in that moment.
Yeah. Because he was next to the cat, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it was,
Yeah.
and obviously we were quite close up, and he kind of did that motion where it kind of looked like he was bigger here. I was like, oh, he wasn't quite as big as I thought.
Still scary, but yeah.
Oh yeah, he's definitely much bigger than he was.
Yeah, he might take off your arm. That's what he looks like now. So he gets him trapped, and he spends like the next little chunk. He's like phoning Lucas. Lucas's little sister's like, I don't know where he is, and I don't care.
No, shut up.
I really thought she was going to start dropping F-bombs at one point. It felt so natural that she was going to start saying mother effer to her.
Yeah,
It really felt like it. And he's killing, and he kills Will apparently, and we doesn't get an answer there. He actually goes over to Mike's house and like talks to his dad, and his dad's like, yeah, he's not been here all day, honey. Where's the son? Or where's
there you
the
go. He's just like, in case you haven't noticed, our kids don't live here anymore.
Yeah, because Nancy's been gone a day and a half as well. And, of course, he just responds with, son of a bitch, you're no help at all. And he just walks off. And that made me laugh so much.
Oh, Dustin's the MVP of this episode.
Yes, it was cracking me up.
He's always been fun, but this is some of his, like the stuff that made me like him the most.
Yeah. And it's just at this moment where Steve rolls up and he's got some flowers. He clearly wants to apologise to Nancy and try and make up.
Yeah.
And Dustin's
like he's muttering to himself. He's like, I'm sorry. And he's like, I don't know why I'm apologising. No, I'm sorry for.
Yeah, he's practicing his speech. And
he's
maybe,
so annoyed still, though.
But Dustin spots some and he's like, oh, are those flowers for the parents? And he's like, no, they're for Nancy. Oh, good, she's not here, and just grabs them. Right, come with me.
It's like, let's go. You still got that bat.
What bat? The bat with the nails in it. Why? You'll see. Just come out. He just lets himself in the car. Right, come on, we need to go now.
Come on. I like how he just leaves his bike there.
He does, yeah. Do you know? I think Steve is a lot more enjoyable when he's away from Nancy. And it's not because Nancy's bad, it's just because when he's with Nancy, it's all about the relationship. Whereas when you get him away and he's with Dustin, now he's the guy with the bat, with the...
Yeah, now he's the older kid who can smack something.
Yeah, he's there to fight Dart whilst, Dustin helps. Now,
Yeah.
now this is a partnership I really want to see. I want to watch this now.
Yeah, exactly. This is way more entertaining than his stuff with Nancy. Again, like you say, not a knock on Nancy because her stuff with Jonathan's really enjoyable.
Yeah.
But it's just the two of them together. It's just like okay. They both become less interesting because you have to focus on this relationship that no one really cares about.
Yeah. Absolutely. So and that's where we leave that for the week. Now, obviously, the only thing we've missed out now is Elle's plot for the episode. She hitchhikes apparently in a truck, Friday the 13th style. Which don't ask me why. It just reminded me of that movie because the hitchhiking girl at the start was in a truck. But she goes to her parents, her mother's house, and we saw her last season with her. And I can't remember the relation of the woman who looks after her. I don't know if it's a sister or if it's just a carer,
I don't remember either.
a friend. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've watched season 1, but Elle goes up to the door. She's like, "Hey, I'm here," and the woman thinks, "Oh, you're just here to sell me something or whatever," and like, no, and obviously she uses her powers to open the door, and she's like, "Oh shit, you might actually be her daughter. Oh crap."
Yeah.
And obviously Elle sees how she is, how sick she is, and she keeps repeating these words. And then we see the thing that happened last season with the light, because she goes up to her room and she sees like the old crib, and she's like, "Oh, maybe I can stay here now." And she offers her a place to stay, and it's like, "Oh yeah, we can maybe sort it out, and you can come live with us because your mother's here." But then we get the cool thing. Remember last year we had the whole thing with the lights, where Will, when he was in another place, he would like,
How can I forget?
yeah, like you could follow where the lights were flickering. Well, this happens here, and it leads back down to her mother. It's like, oh, she wants to talk, so she makes some blindfolds, puts some static on. And
Yeah, because I think it's the mother that seems to be changing the TV.
yeah, she puts the static on first. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because and that's how Elle's like, no, she wants to communicate. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah, I mean she's out of it, but so deep down she kind of knows some stuff that's going on. Clearly,
Yeah, she's aware in some capacity. She must be.
yeah. So they go into the psychic world, and she goes up, and basically her mother shares memories with her. And it kind of shows us what all these words that she says means. She's kind of recounting the story of how she became the way she is. And it's basically from the birth of 11, aka Jane, she was told she died at birth, but she's like, no, I was awake for like a moment. I saw her, she was fine, like I saw the baby. And we saw, old Papa, one of the doctors, he's the kidnapper.
Yeah.
And we see her go into a safe, get out a gun, go into the lab, actually shoot a security guard, which is kind of dark. I was like, oh crap, alright,
Yeah.
so you aren't squeaky clean here. I get you're in a bad place, but that was proper Night of Vengeance stuff, that.
Yeah, it's, maybe a touch uncalled for.
Yeah, and she storms throughout the building, she gets to the room where, Elle's maybe, 4 or 5 years old, something like that, but then the guards grab her and they give her electric shock treatment, and that's, presumably what's led to her current state.
Yeah, it's the idea that just fry her brain.
Yeah, that's what they have done, so she's not a problem in the future. And yeah, so that's basically what happens here, and she learns all this. It's very emotional, of course. I'll admit, I think Elle's story is probably the least interesting out of the season.
I think it's because it doesn't seem to be tying in yet. I mean, maybe it will.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't see where this is going to be part of the rest of the group.
Yeah, everything else is in some way connected to what's going on in the town, in some capacity.
Yeah, but this is just specific to Elle, and obviously that's fine. She wants to pass as a valid storyline, but I feel like maybe there's a better way to handle it.
I think it's because I'm kind of waiting. Like everyone else, I'm excited. This was kind of the same last year as well. I was kind of excited to when they all came together. Especially right now, all the 4 core kids are all separate right now. And I'm really excited about, okay, when they all get back together and everyone's together, you get Steve's with the bat, you get Jonathan and Nancy there, you get the 4 kids, you got Max there as well now.
But
and they all
this is the
team
thing,
up.
with the 4 kids, even though they're all separate, everything they're doing still relates to each other, whereas Elle's just kind of off on the side.
And they're all still in the town as well, of course. They're all still in close proximity.
Yeah.
And you can see how it's all going to connect up and they're going to help each other. And I have to assume that by the end of the season, 11 will be back in the town and she will be there to help. I have to imagine she'll find out about what's going on and know that she's needed or something to that effect.
Yeah, I do feel like though I'm missing her interacting with the group.
No, I agree. I'm missing her with Mike. I'm missing her interacting with the others. And And it's maybe like, if I was to guess right now what my main sort of problem with the season would be that I missed that as a whole. Even if we get it for the last couple of episodes, it's going to be okay. We went most of the season without it, so I would maybe say getting into season 3, I hope that she's there with them the whole time, because
you want to just no, this is just how it is. This is the new, status quo.
It's kind of funny actually. It's kind of like the one main complaint of a certain other season 2
It is. It just popped into my head a moment ago as we said. Like, we kept that character separate.
Yeah, which is funnily enough has so far been rectified in the currently airing season 3. So
yes,
interesting. So all good shows are susceptible to maybe this in the second season, apparently.
Second season syndrome.
Yeah.
We have pilotitis, so now we've got second season syndrome.
But honestly, this is probably my favourite episode so far of the season. Like, I had a blast with this.
I agree, yeah.
So as much as I'm having some criticisms, the L's plot's really separate. I did like the flashback sort of segment where we saw what all this stuff meant. I like that section.
But this is the thing, I like everything that it's doing on its own.
Yeah.
Like, in a vacuum, I think all of this stuff is really great. But as an overall narrative, how it plays into what's going on everywhere else, it feels extraneous. It's only serving her character. It's not serving anything else. Or so it seems right now. I could be proven wrong later. But with everything else, I see, I'm getting character beats for Dustin, in this episode, but also it's playing into the overall plot with, getting dark.
I think as well. I think Dustin and Lucas are benefiting as well from a bit more. I mean, they had a lot of time last season. I shouldn't say time per se, but I feel like they have more of their own plots this season.
Yeah, definitely.
Because it was very much making a living last year. That was the main kid plot. Whereas this year, I feel like those two are also, Lucas is dealing with Max, and that's a relationship that's going to have its own things. And then obviously Dustin's dealing with Dart, and that's his relationship for the season.
Mike arguably has the least, because obviously Will is the one that's connected to everything.
Yeah.
And, you mentioned all the 4 kids are separate, but they're not, because Mike is just with Will. Like, he's not in his plot, he's in Will's plot.
Yeah, I knew that, but like I was just kind of...
No, I know. I'm just, just doing, we're talking about they're all having their own plots.
Yeah.
But he actually doesn't at the moment. He's just in someone else's.
Well, he's kind of like us. He's longing for 11 to come back and have his plot with her.
Yeah,
so as it is right now, he's doing what he can for his friend, but that's kind of like... And I have to imagine that maybe her return might actually be because he does his best to try and reach out to her, because it's like, we need her, and maybe he...
Well, it could be, yeah.
Goes to the walkie-talkie and like does his best to try and contact her, and it's like, no, Elle, we need you back. Like, really, this is bad. Like, Will might die.
You could be right.
I don't know. I'm just I'm theorizing. But no, really, really solid episode though. I'm excited to watch episode 6. So let us know what you thought of 5 in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailfuzztv. You can do that over there, but otherwise that is us. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV, guys. Have you got any vanilla?